If you are an evangelical Christian, then you are most likely to know the name Jack T. Chick through his tract, "This Was Your Life, This Is Your Life." If, on the other hand, you were ever a role-playing geek, like me, then you are more likely to be familiar with the infamous Dark Dungeons. Jack T. Chick, the author of scores of tracts, is a Christian who believes that the only way to avoid hell is to accept Jesus, the end of the world is imminent, the only true English language edition of the Bible is the King James Version, and that evolution is a lie. But these are his less controversial views. Here are 4 ideas that I first encountered in the works of Jack Chick. Big Daddy is a Chick tract on evolution. It depicts a fanatical teacher whose attempt to indoctrinate his class with the lie of evolution is not only thwarted by a calm creationist student, but the teacher himself is forced to admit that God must have created everything. Most of the students' arguments come from Kent Hovind, and people will be familiar with many of these. There is the idea that the Big Bang is part of evolutionary theory, in spite of the fact that it was first proposed more than 50 years after the publication of On the Origin of Species. There's the dishonest implication that the only Neanderthal fossil ever discovered turns out to be an old man with arthritis, and the misrepresentation of the Lucy fossil, among others. The most astonishing claim is that, according to the laws of physics, atomic nuclei should not stay together. Gluons are merely a desperate attempt to explain why they don't. Clearly, God holds everything together, not some naturalistic force. Sure, these nuclear physicists might come up with obscure experiments which they claim shows evidence for gluons, or some other component of their theories, but have they ever done anything convincing to prove that they know what they're talking about? The tract Dark Dungeons came out at the height of a satanic panic with which Dungeons and Dragons was associated. This tract contains a melodramatic depiction of a player committing suicide after her character's death, and the condemnation of the entire fantasy genre, with specific pains taken in some editions to include the Christian authors J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. These would have been enough to make this tract a classic of anti-D&D hysteria, but there was one last element which added the icing to the metaphorical scare cake. When one player's cleric reaches level 8, her dungeon master advises her that she is now ready to try real magic. I doubt it is possible to find a review of Dark Dungeons written by a gamer that does not include something along the lines of, "I knew I shouldn't have stopped playing my cleric at level 5, or "My cleric got to level 12, but no one invited me to their local coven." As much as role-players laugh, to Jack Chick this is all very serious. Demons lead souls astray in the guise of false gods, and Lucifer walks the earth, often playing the part of a scoffing atheist. People are frequently inhabited by demons, having been lured to the dark paths to power by Harry Potter, and spells and curses really work. Something to consider next time you pick up a D20. Chick has at least 2 tracts dedicated to the devil's music. One deals with a Christian rock band who are lured away from what they think their central message is by their shady manager, Lucifer. In this tract it is revealed that heavy metal is the apotheosis of music designed to glorify the devil, having developed from softer forms of rock in order to condition the public to accept this abomination. But what were the origins of rock music? According to Spellbound, it came from the Druids. You may have thought they died out with the Romanization of Britain, but Jack Chick knows better. They've been secretly working against God all this time, and they're building their city on rock and roll. As we have seen, in the world of Jack Chick, Satan has many outreach programs intended to prevent souls from entering into the kingdom of heaven. There is, however, one organization that stands out as Satan's greatest achievement, the Catholic Church, and it is at the feet of this institution that Jack Chick lays the blame for many crimes. Chick is not the first to claim that the Catholic Church was complicit in the rise of the Nazis, although he claims that there was a higher level of involvement than many would. More novel is the idea that Jesuits encouraged the communist revolution in Russia. However, by far the most striking accusation against what Chick claims is the Church of Lucifer is the invention of Islam. Chick outlines his version of events in his tract The Prophet. This account is based on the testimony of a man called Alberto Rivera. Rivera's claims are extraordinary. Aside from the Nazi, Islamic and communist theories mentioned, he also claims that the Catholic Church was responsible for the assassinations of Kennedy and Lincoln, as well as both world wars. The Catholic Church denies that Rivera was ever a Catholic priest, as he claims, but such denials would never hold sway with a conspiracy theorist such as Chick. Cornerstone magazine, a magazine associated with the Evangelical Covenant Church, published a damning article on Rivera, outlining a history of dishonesty. As the Da Vinci Code was later to prove, however, many people are going to believe what they want to believe about the Catholic Church, no matter what the evidence says. Many critics deride Jack T. Chick as being a cynical hack. I think that he's neither. Chick has all the fervour of a true believer, and in his tracts he has struck upon a formula which he executes well. He may employ melodrama and gross characterizations, but that is a necessity of the medium he uses. Chick owes his cult status among his detractors to the fact that he is both sincere and good at his craft. There is one other thing he owes his cult status to, and that is his seemingly uncritical credulity when it comes to assertions of a satanic conspiracy. Sincerity and absurdity make for a potent comical mix, hence his fame among non-Christians. Maybe the four things to learn about Chick are really these: that he is sincere, that his pamphlets are effective in a dramatic sense, that he is in no way mainstream, and that his desire to believe any sufficiently elaborate theory that supports his worldview leads him to being a figure of mockery rather than an effective advocate for his cause.